Hi, this is MUCKER671 again. Just posting a quick video on AppsCourt, which is a campsite with plenty of free fishing on the River Thames at Lower Sunbury on Thames, right by the lock. There's also carp fishing available on site. It's 80 acres. This is the northwest corner, so far away from everybody as you can get. That's the entrance to the river there with a key-coded gate. I like this place because it's not very busy quite a lot of the time, but be very careful when you book because there could be things on like Hampton Court Flower Show or something and other festivals, and it gets very busy here. This is the off-grid area, so no non-electric area, so if you like to get away from it all, which I do, this is the main area that I go to. I think I've said it's 80 acres, but split in half really. You've got car boot side, lakes and things, and then the camping area. And this is the group meet area for things like the camping and caravan club, I think. Pretty sure. They also meet in the middle of the field and that sort of thing as well, with partitions sometimes. Mainly very quiet though. Now the main shower block's behind the tall conifer trees here. It's brand new for 2020. This is September, by the way. This is all the electric pitches along the conifers and all the way up here as well. It's in an L shape up towards the side of the waterworks. The waterworks is absolutely fine, and it's not a smelly waterworks at all. It's all sort of clean water reservoir stuff, I think. I've fished here a lot and I've never had a problem. There's my bug out vehicle, Toyota Grand View with the iCamper, etc. Now onto the river, straight out the access gate. To my left is the lock, that's upstream. There's only a couple of available swims really upstream. There's a very nice pub up there, which we eat at quite a lot, so it's a real bonus. A little bit of a walk, but it's not too bad. I have to pick my day because I'm not the most able person, so yeah, right. I've had permission, I'll show you in a second, by that boat that's tied up to fish there before from the lock keeper. Now, to the right of me, that's inside the gate, is the camper van. Obviously, it's about 100 metres away, something like that. But spinning back round, I've spoke to the lock keeper before. Some of the lock keepers on the Thames are really nice, and they've suggested, once the lock's sort of stopped and people have stopped travelling around, then going through the locks, and it's a lot less busy, then it's probably okay to have a little fish there. Don't bring too much tackle, just one single rod, a feeder rod or something like that. It's a very productive swim. You can get everything basically. When that boat's not in the way, there's lots of places to cast, sort of upstream and downstream and straight in front of you. You can go up the cut there a little bit if you like, and try and get to where the big boat's moored here, which is quite carpy basically. Now moving on to the first real available swim, which is what I would call the Nemesis swim. Problem is, it's been blocked by another boat. That's not usually there, so I can't fish that. That's free fishing there, so it's the opposite bank all the way along pretty much when I walk downstream in a minute. This is the Nemesis swim, like I say. I've lost 3 huge fish in the last couple of years here. I'm a sea fisherman, and I've actually had seals nick my bait, my bass and things like that, and they feel exactly the same as that, just like a seal. I know they're not. It's either large catfish or large carp. But I've had 3.5 pound test curve Barkley carp rods, 13 footers, with subline 15 pounds straight through running, and not been able to stop them at all. So I call it the Nemesis. This swim here, now this is a really, really good swim for being accessible to the water. You've got a nice little sort of bank here. It's a fairly bland looking swim. There's no real overhanging trees or anything like that. Now, but the good thing about this swim is to my left, you'll see just the stern of the boat, right in the top left corner there. That's the back end of the Nemesis swim. So I leave a sleeper rod to my left here, and then feed a fish straight out. Excuse me, or maybe even float fish, on the right days. It's very good for a waggler here. There's not much flow at all. Beautiful laundered area here up front, but just after this house and their lovely gardens is a lot of fishing. I'll show you en route. Now this swim here, because of COVID-19, it's totally overgrown. It's always very tight anyway. You've normally got to do a tiny bit of cutting back. But it's a nice sociable swim because your mate can be to the left of you and you can flick maggots at them if you like, boilies, whatever, ball of ground bait in the ear hole, you know, any of the normal sort of stuff that we do. So hopefully next year it'll be, in the winter, it'll be a bit more accessible. So moving on. This next swim, oh, tell a lie, sorry. This is a quick view of the campsite itself, just over the hedge. I do apologise about the shaky video. It's the first time I've used this gimbal, and it's very, very sensitive on the toggle, so I'm having problems calming it down a bit, but it gets better as we go on, I promise. Now this is a privately owned swim, so we'll just skip that one. This is the back end of that privately owned swim. It's an absolutely brilliant swim for being sociable. If you get a couple of bivvies, you could have 3 bivvies up if you really wanted to, in this little spot. It's tucked away nicely. You don't get harassed by the public or dogs or anything like that within reason. But yet again, this year, first time ever, I've been fishing here for years, it's been closed off with 2 boats butted up together. And they've tied the ropes to trees, so I don't know how legal it is. Probably is okay, I'd imagine, but it's completely ruined those first 2 swims that I like. So this time, so no fishing from there, I'm afraid, at the moment. So we'll reverse out like that, do a bit of Benny Hill, and go to the next swim, which is a little bit of a walk, not too far as you can see. Really a productive swim though. I really like this swim. It's a very tight swim, this one, but it's good for one person. You could share a rod each or something if you wanted to, but I like to have a sleeper rod out to the left, just on the drop off. I'll show you the arrows in a minute, the pointers. It's very picturesque again, it's lovely and quiet. I don't really know what to say. I'm blown away by the stretch and how there's never anybody here fishing, you know. I think in 4 years I've probably met one person on this bank, so that's actually fishing, which is amazing. Now this overhanging willow looks great, it is, but you want to cast about 1.5 meters to 2 meters past it when it's very, very clear, because it's quite shallow and there's a thin stream of weed. Lots of bream can be caught from there. If you just find the drop off, cast to the edge of the drop off with a feeder, you'll be quids in basically. Now this one here, because of COVID again, it's a little bit mucked up. There's the swims in between those 2 arrows. You probably get 3 people in there, I'd imagine, something like that, but it's absolutely completely overgrown, so you can chomp your way through if you like. But opposite bank, as you can see there, it goes on quite a long way, way past the campsite behind me in length down the river. Sometimes there's 20 bivvies all the way along this stretch or so, even more than that I've seen. Some lovely roach fishing under this tree here, and perch all the way along this stretch as well if you're interested in any silvers. So like I say, you've got this lovely bank on the opposite side. I think it's Lower Sunbury Road or one of the roads off of it that follows behind. You can see the road there. But it goes on for a long way. Like I say, lots of bivvies normally. Don't know why it's so quiet at the moment. It's been a lovely week. But this is the overgrown area. Like I say, it's not, you can flatten it if you wanted to get to the water. If you're really struggling for swims, there's about 3 you can make from here. So moving on a little bit, there's another side on view. The drop off, I'll show you the drop off I think here. Yeah, the drop off, it's a lot further than you think, so you do need an extendable landing net when you come here. Your standard length plus a sort of an extension handle of a couple of foot, something like that, for most swims anyway. Oh no, this lady here, we met her, she's just lovely, really smiley, really happy. One of the first people I've met on the riverbank on the Thames here that actually took time to have a chat with us, you know, so I was quite impressed with that. Lovely dogs as well, very friendly. Bit of a chomp to the next swim. I don't normally come too far because of my being a little bit restricted in mobility most of the time. This is quite a tight swim, obviously single person, but just to the right of me is actually a huge great sluice outlet type area. lots and lots and lots of features. Good depth again in front. Normal stream of weed in just sort of the first sort of 8 foot out, but very carpy. Now here we go. To the left, you can see the sluice gate areas here, so it can be quite a productive area basically. Now this is a lovely swim to fish from, single swim again, but the features on this swim are just what you know. I mean, look, I don't really need to say much, do I? It gets better. I go on a bit here, I must admit, with the filming, but nice and comfy swim there. You can set up quite happily here. Just to the left of us here, just panning up to it now. If you look in the water closely, there's lots and lots of stakes and God knows what. There's all sorts of snaggy areas, that sort of thing, all the way along there. It's absolutely perfect for the carp. Plenty of depth as well. Now to the right of me is a nice little spot, but like I say, you've got to be a bit careful with the streamer weed. The rig I use is sort of infallible, you know, it doesn't really matter. I'll just cast straight into that. It's not a problem at all. I just use fishy boilie, carp style tactics, wrap the boilie and the hook together up to about a walnut size blob of hardish paste, and paste around the weight and just pop it wherever you think you need to. Now this one here, this is a bit more sort of a little bit different, let's just say. Nice one for being sociable again, if you want to bivvy it up, or you know, just have a nice sociable day's fishing. There's a nice little feature just to my left over the side of this wall here, and it's a bit of a shock moment when I first came here, and it was running quite hard, but as there's no real moving water at all here, being as it's very controlled, it's a case of, oh look at that, aerated water. It's very rocky, goes out about 10 to 14 foot depending, and then it drops off quite quickly. But it's the fact that it's all rocky, and it's got different types of weed on it just on this area here. You've got cabbage weed to the bottom left, mixed with streamer weeds, that type of thing, but plenty of room again. It's obviously very close to the main path, but that's fine. Lots of deep holes, especially to my top right hand corner of the screen now. That's where I tend to get the perch. Only ever use worm, don't bother with anything else really. Worm and smelly ground bait, fishy ground bait if you're going to do it. You can trot here for the silvers as well. You get the chub, that type of thing. You've got to be patient, 3 or 4 hours of feeding sometimes before you even see anything, but then suddenly it can just erupt. So, but it's like a reef here. It's really weird. Really sticks out on this stretch of the river. So it's a very good feature indeed. Now, so panning, I think to my right. I'm not sure. Yeah, in fact, very quickly, you've got to be very careful with the opposite bank. If you look in a second, you'll see under the water here, this is the same on both sides on a lot of the Thames. You have this stream of weed there, can you see that? So if you solid PVA bag, if you can get it across the river if you want to do the far bank, but I just use my technique basically. It tends to work absolutely fine, never had a problem with it. I use it on the River Wye. I've got videos posted of that, huge barbel on the River Wye, Simmons Yacht East, etc. And there's that lovely lady again with her lovely dogs, big smile on her face. It was great to see, sort of cheered us up a treat. And there's my lovely better half there. So we're chomping back all the way back to the lock again. So now we're just upstream of the lock. It's just a lovely area. Everybody's so friendly as well. The fishing gets a bit thin, to be honest with you. It's lots of far bank fishing, but the problem is actually pitching making a swim up. As I said, it's so overgrown. Even when it's not overgrown, it's hard to fish up this stretch. There's probably only a couple of swims up to where the pub is, which is, by the way, a very lovely pub. I'll leave all the details of the campsite, of the pub, of everything I can. The carp fishing on AppsCourt as well. There's 2 lakes you can fish actually in the campsite, which are quite good. Aerial views, that type of thing. But yeah, so it's you walking up to the pub. Lovely food, lovely people up there, and it's I just absolutely love it here. I can't find a fault with it really, other than boats being moored in places they shouldn't really, you know. Used to be able to walk across that bridge, and but you can't do that anymore, so we'll just move on from there. And there is a swim underneath the bridge. I'll show you the access point to that in just a second with some green arrows. I'll just do a 180 in a second. You can see how overgrown it is. There's still no swims really. That's a swim just inside there. You walk in like this, and you've got the fence line there. You can creep in underneath and fish to your heart's content there. You don't get disturbed by anyone, which is quite nice. Now moving up a little bit more, this is getting closer to the pub. We're still probably 150 yards away, so we skip away a little bit. There is a sort of a swim here if you're brave. It's a very short swim. It's not doesn't go out as far as you think, but you could if you know, if it wasn't too overgrown. Yet again, fish there. This is the front of the pub, the Weir Hotel. It's absolutely gorgeous. The food's delicious. The people are lovely. Fairly well priced as well. Quite impressed. Now on the way back to the campsite again, I'm going to leave, like I said before, a picture of the brochure of this place and the pub itself, and some aerial views of the whole sort of area there, campsite area. That's the off-grid area to your left. There's your group section there. And behind the tall conifers is the brand new toilet and shower block with disabled facilities. That's the electric going around there into the L shape, and then obviously back to our wagon basically. A bit like Benny Hill as per usual. Now that's proof that I do actually catch fish, not just full of it, you know. This is from Chertsey Camping and Caravan Site, at Chertsey, obviously. So is this on the opposite bank. Usual sort of tactics with the pace round the hook and the bait into about a walnut size lump. Here comes the brochure, the page for the Weir Hotel, and then there's going to be a menu coming up soon, then the aerial shots. What I tend to do, another quick tip with the bait, is the standard thing is I just put in half pint of high oil trout pellet, blended really well, really fine. Cover it with boiling water, about 4 mil over the top, and put it around my bait and my weight. Now that's the entrance. That's the main carp lake there. One of the main carp lakes. There's two, obviously. You can see the second one there with the arrow. Now the car boot parking is in the middle of that U-shaped area there. And that's where we are, sort of in that L-shaped electric section there. What else we got? Well, it's just basically got everything you need, I think, this place. I know that the brand new toilet block there, which is not on this picture because it's quite an old picture, is absolutely brilliant. What an upgrade. Really worth the money. Great value again, you know. But if this is helping this video, please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe. That's the winter camping, by the way, when it doesn't shut during the winter at all. They just shut off the main field. But if you do like it, please post like, subscribe, as I'm trying to grow my channel very slowly. Now this is a obviously picture of the main lake, one of the main lakes. You got this one here, you got the other one here. That's very carpy. Obviously you pay to fish here as well. That's it. I think it might be a club. I'm not 100% sure. I've never actually fished it, so but I'd find out before anyway. And don't forget to check. Make sure there's nothing on like Hampton Court, Flower Show, or any big festivals or greets, meets, these type of things, because sometimes it can get really busy. So just check before you go. My name is MUCKER671 in capital letters. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell if it's been helpful. And thank you for watching.